Hey, everybody, welcome back in. We're so excited to kick off this next edition of Cambria Style. And today we're going to be discussing in this webinar our creative solutions to interior design challenges. For those of you that are watching one of our webinars for the first time, I want to welcome you in. This is going to be a very interactive experience. My name is Heather. I'm the spokesperson and moderator here at Cambria, and I'm going to talk to our esteemed designers in just a few minutes. But before I do that, I want to walk you through a little bit of how today's going to work. First of all, I'm so happy you registered, and we're so happy that you're here. Again, we're going to be talking about creative solutions to interior design. This webinar is going to be recorded, so feel free to go back and rewatch it as many times as you want. There's going to be all kinds of great information. You'll find this at cambriausa.com/style and on Cambria's YouTube channel, so make sure that you click subscribe to that. We do want you to weigh in. We're going to have some fun little periodic pop-up polls that you're going to see, so those are a lot of fun. And then, of course, Summer Kath, head of design here at Cambria, is going to be waiting in the wings. And if you go ahead and pop questions in, we will make sure that those get answered right away. So if you've got questions on the paint color, on a wallpaper, on a finish, on one of the Cambria designs that you love, pop that in there. Summer Kath is waiting in the wings, and she's definitely going to stay tuned with us. So if we're ready to get started, I want to do what everyone has been waiting for, and I want to welcome in our three designers that are featured in this episode. I'm going to start with Brenda Thompson. Brenda is the principal designer at House of Design at in Marietta, Georgia. She leads a team of professionals committed to designing homes that epitomize livable luxury and a unique style that gracefully merges time and elegance with comfort and practicality. Brenda, I'm excited to have you today.
Thank you.
We're going to welcome in Claire Staszak. Claire is a principal designer and the owner of Chicago-based firm Centered by Design. She's known for her holistic design process. She has an expertise in design and restoring homes, and she infuses them with soul. She has a special affinity for creating timeless and functional kitchens. We're going to show you one of her beautiful kitchens a little bit later. Hi, Claire, welcome in.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Jay Jeffers, who's joining us. And Jay is the founder of Jay Jeffers Incorporated. He's known for creating luxurious spaces with soul all over California, New York, Texas, Florida, and beyond. He's also co-owns a boutique hotel that we're all hoping we get a personal invitation to, called the Madrona, and that was featured in this Cambria Style. And there are some great backstories to that hotel we can't wait to share. Welcome in, Jay.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, if all of you watching right now, if this is your first webinar, I think that you're really going to have a good time. We're going to start today with Brenda. And again, the theme is talking about creative design solutions. Brenda, the space is incredible. We love the colors. We love everything about this. I want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the design challenges that you faced with this space and how you overcame them.
Absolutely. So this was a really fun project for us. We love when a client is open to color. And this particular client really was sold on the emerald green for the backsplash. She has seen it, she wanted it, and when they moved into this home, it was a 1970s modern ranch on a lake, and they really wanted it to feel like they were bringing nature inside. Georgia's very green, so their home is surrounded by trees, and they wanted to just bring that onto the inside. I think one of the biggest challenges was their kitchen when we started was less than half the size of what we see here. So we had to move a garage door, which they were like, wait, what do you mean we have to move the garage door? The interior garage door was located about where the hood is now. So we tripled the size of their kitchen with the same footprint. And the other challenge that we had was she really wanted open shelving and didn't want any uppers, which we were down for, but that created a storage challenge to try to figure out where to put everything. But not shown in this photo, we have a whole wall of floor to ceiling cabinetry where the pantry, other small appliances are, a little window bench. So we were able to work everything in, especially since we expanded the space.
Well, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I'd love to know, when you're looking at the center island and the seating, what kind of challenges went into that and how did you solve those?
So they have an adjoining dining room right behind the island. So seating is super close by. They only wanted a couple of chairs available there to sit with the dog if they wanted to. So we extended the island and created a little just breakfast area, but then their main dining space is very close to it. So we just did a little bump out there on the island to give them a couple of seats to hang out.
Well, Claire and Jay, I know that you both were also big fans of this design. Let's discuss a little bit of what you see with your expert eyes.
Yeah, I love the way it looks. I love the green, especially. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the storage, but I'm all about the no upper cabinets these days. And like, do you have, I'm always concerned about, or not concerned, but my clients are more concerned about the functionality of it. Like, having everything close and nearby. Like, did you do like pegs for plates and drawers and cups and drawers and things like that? It's sort of getting people out of their head and of that your upper cabinets have to have these things and they can go lower. How'd you address it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. So most of the lower cabinetry has organizational inserts specific to what they need to store. So like you're saying, the big drawers pull out, they have the pegs for the dishes. Glassware is something she ended up wanting to put, she has beautiful glassware, so not shown in this photo, but she wanted to display that. And so she had cute little vignettes of groups of 6 of colorful glasses. So that was not an issue for her. Also with the shelves, because the ceiling was on the lower side, which worked out, we made sure that we measured them exactly according to the space for the items that she was intending to store. And of course, them being able to hold a lot of weight too with plates and things like that. But all of the cabinetry, we have spice pullouts, we have dishware pullouts, we have the double trash can, all of the things that really maximize space. I think often people don't realize, just like a closet system, if you put the correct organizational elements into the space, you really can utilize it in a much more efficient way. And we found that to be true in this case too.
Right.
And Brenda, I was saying how much I love this tone of wood. Could you share with us all what wood you used?
Yes, this is a hard maple that was stained with a custom stain that our team chose. We did go with the slab style of the drawers and doors to just keep it more modern and minimal, but it's a hard maple that we were able to get this color. And then the hood was matched to it.
Beautiful.
Well, Brenda, I want to ask about the surface that you chose because we are seeing a movement here at Cambria. A lot of our designers are calling in and asking about the darker surfaces. And I believe that this was Charlestown. What motivated that decision? And then tell me about the finish.
Sure. So we went with Charlestown. It's a beautiful quartz. We did it in the matte, which just reduces the look of fingerprints and things like that. It has slight veining, just a little bit of white mixed in. So it's not just a solid black. And the clients were obsessed with it as soon as it got installed. They couldn't believe how much counter space they had. And then you don't see any dirt either. So double win.
Mm-hmm.
It's fabulous. I want to ask Jay and Claire really quickly, have both of you also heard a movement towards matte finishes and some of the design work that you've been doing?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's such a wide range. So, whether it's a classic polished, it's matte, it's leathered. I think it just feels like now there's more choice. I think clients are a little more savvy to these options. And I've really had to learn in the past few years, like which finishes work the best on which materials and which colors, because you can kind of get yourself into trouble if you don't fully understand. So for instance, just for audience, education, if you're truly, using a darker, natural stone, you really will see a lot more, than a lighter polished natural stone. And obviously with Cambria, we don't have to really worry about any of that, which is why a lot of clients are choosing it. But, I have gotten, in some sticky situations where you really want to know which finishes are best for your material. So it's a good thing to ask about.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same in terms of just durability and usability. I love a matte finish. I love a leathered finish. It feels like it gives the stone an authenticity to it, like it might have been around for a little while. It's like those French etagères that you see that have been around forever, and slices of bread have been cut on them for 100 years, and how fabulous they look. And it's just giving you a little bit of that, but not too much of it. So I am a big fan of it. So I'm loving all the new finishes coming out that are more matte and leathered and things like that.
Oh, good. Okay. These are those little bits of advice for the exact reason that people tune into these webinars. So this is just design gold. Thank you guys for sharing that. Brenda, Absolutely gorgeous space. Thank you for sharing it. I want to remind all of you that are tuned in right now, make sure that you're commenting and asking questions because Summer Cath is available and they're going to pop right up and Summer will be able to answer them. So if there's questions you have on finishes, design, aesthetics, Cambria, any questions are going to be answered by our head of design, Summer Cath. Make sure that you're continuing to do that. All right, we are ready to move on. Claire, you are up. And this was the first time that I can recall that we have featured in a webinar like this, discussing remodeling a kitchen that was also kosher. And I know that this was a kitchen for you that had a large family. I believe there were 6 people. So I want to hear a little bit about some of the design challenges behind refinishing a kitchen, it being kosher, and then it being for such a large family.
Yeah, like this was a really fun project and a really adventurous family. And the wife was a trained architect. So she was actually a great partner in this because really together we used every centimeter of this kitchen for storage. And so in a kosher kitchen, you need to have sort of 2 of everything and you need to separate meat and dairy. And so what really worked about this house, I mean, we worked with them on this whole home and it was pretty much a near gut of an existing house. So this is actually one really large room that's a kitchen and family room sort of in one. But the challenge was, how do you create one, how do you take one large room and have a kitchen, really a pantry, a family room, and a breakfast room, all in one room. So that was a fun, space planning challenge for my team. If maybe you go to the next picture, I can explain, sorry, one more, is here we did something that was really creative and we used a double-sided sofa. And so you can see on one side is the breakfast table and on the other side is a family room space. And what you can't see is just past the sofa is a fireplace with a TV above. And so, they can kind of sit in that little family room space, everybody can watch television together, put on the fire, and then you have breakfast here right by the island. And then this whole wall of cabinetry serves as sort of a secondary kitchen and includes a steam oven, another refrigerator, and you can kind of pull back those glass doors and it can actually be a bit of a countertop workspace. And then where the cabinets are closed, that's pantry. So a lot going on.
There are so many solutions in this. I want to talk about the ladder because I noticed the railing in this living space, and then it was also on the previous slides that we saw. Tell me more about that detail.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a fun detail to add when you've got, the high ceilings and to really maximize those uppers. So that ladder can move from each side of the kitchen and, it really lives over on that pantry side, but we wanted the ability to bring it over here so you could easily get to those uppers. And that brass detail is lovely. And you can see in this other photo how you've got 2 sinks. We kind of hid one a little bit out of the way, but then you've got the other one in the island. And yeah, I love this project and kitchen. So we were really excited that we were kind of able to address all of their needs and make it all happen.
It's really beautiful.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I really commend you on how intimate and cozy it feels. I did a kosher kitchen about 4 years ago, and I'd never done one before, and I haven't done one since, but it was the amount of dual appliances that you need, the amount of separate dishes, like the amount of storage that we were having to find to go into this kitchen. I was like, this kitchen is going to be as big as a football field when we're done. Like it's going to be so huge. So to have all that storage up above with the ladder and the different tones of the finishes, I love the island in a brown finish and then the rest of it in white. And that brown carries on into the family room. It's really just great.
Thank you.
So beautiful. And I was just going to add the little touch of wallpaper that continues throughout all of the spaces. I think it's just perfect. It just brings a little bit of a transitional element into a white and black wood tone space, and the little gallery wall is perfect.
Thank you. That wallpaper is a William Morris, which I know we're going to get to see some William Morris in Jay's project too, but wallpaper is sort of our signature. So I love when people notice that. And yeah, I love being able to bring it in little fun ways, which, you know, this wasn't like a fully wallpapered kitchen. It's just in a few places. And I think it adds something really special.
Claire, I want to ask about the lighting because is that gallery lighting that you put above
Yeah,
the
I mean,
photos?
that's just the traditional picture light, but yes, like
Okay.
also otherwise, you know, we could call it gallery lighting. We kind of use a picture light in kitchens and bathrooms. It could give it a little bit of a, you know, more of a homey type feel. I think I don't always love projecting sconces. Like I like something that's a little maybe, I don't know, just it feels like smaller, less invasive to me. So I think that was fun. And whether we did this little gallery wall or at some point they switch it out for a bigger piece of art, it's kind of fun and versatile.
Is that your task light for over the sink too?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I am
Right.
completely stealing that idea because I can't stand the recess can one over the sink
Yes.
that, you know,
Yes.
everybody looks good in. That's a great idea.
Thank you.
I want to go to the next slide because in the next slide, where I know we've kind of bounced back and forth a little bit for Claire's design, but in this one, I want to talk about blending styles. Which style would this be? And then how do you merge a client's desires with what you know is going to work best?
So I would call this, you know, transitional, maybe leaning a tad traditional. I definitely think we're a traditional leaning firm, but I like to say we're traditional with like a little bit of edge. So, you know, to me, the little bit of edge comes in something like the breakfast table and chairs. Those are a little more modern. They're a little more contemporary in their lines. While we did a more traditional cabinet, it's still pretty clean. And you could see that in a more modern space. Like what makes it feel more traditional are the wallpaper, the reeded glass, the brass ladder. So I think, you know, merging styles is part of, I think, what we all do as designers. And I would say clients come to us typically, you know, who want a little more traditional look. And usually if they don't, they're probably not the right fit for us. And so then we'll refer them to someone who I think is a better fit, because while you always want to be, you know, collaborative and working with your client, like I'm not the best person to hire if you want a really contemporary home.
Okay, that's great feedback. I want to take things back to Brenda and Jay for a second because Claire referenced a few moments ago needing to use this double-sided seating. And I'm just curious if either of you have faced this. The webinar today is about design solutions and design challenges. So have you used something like this, or have you experienced a challenge like this in the past? And if so, what did you do for it?
Great question. We have not used this exact solution, but I love it. It's so cozy, just like Heather said earlier. We have had longer rectangular living spaces that were just too long to do one furniture grouping. So that's another occasion where you can do a double-sided seating or chase or something like that that connects the two areas together. So we've run into that in some of these traditional homes in Atlanta, and have done something similar. But I want to do this now in a cozy little space too.
I know it looks great. I haven't done the exact same thing, but it reminded me of a project we did a few years ago in San Francisco where the clients, we didn't have a lot of kitchen space and they weren't formal dining people. So the formal dining room got opened up with the kitchen and became part of the family room, which was much more functional for them. So we put the breakfast area literally attached a banquette to the kitchen island. So it's kitchen island, and then the sides of the banquette are still the millwork wood material, and then the interior of it is upholstered with a table like this, and then regular chairs on the other side. So it's a great functional thing because it takes up a little less space and always has a fun look to it. So it's great.
Well, we're going to keep this. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The one tip I would just add for everybody, if anybody tries this, or for my designer friends, the pitch of the back was the trickiest part. And so we pitched the breakfast side, but we really didn't pitch the family room side quite enough. And so my client said afterwards, she loves the piece and loved the concept, but like, it's really not truly as comfortable as a sofa, you know? And so we had to use some pillows and things. So that's my one tip for everyone.
Good tip.
Great tip. Yeah, really good tip. As long as we're in the theme of dark surfaces, I want to move on and I want to show everybody that, you know, we've had a few new design launches recently, and one that we have had a tremendous response to in the market is Inverness Stone Street. And ladies, both of you, you know, feature dark designs, and I know that Jay, you're also a fan of the dark designs. Let's just have a conversation about what you guys are thinking of some of the new designs, and I want to focus right now on Inverness Stone Street.
I love this one. I was saying I thought it was a really nice option when you would maybe be looking at something like a soapstone. And I love the idea that it just feels really natural and organic. So I always lean towards something like that. And I think this is a great option for when you're looking for something dark.
I totally agree. I also think it's very timeless, based on the color tones and the texture to it. I would love to actually use this on a fireplace soon as well.
Yeah, I think it's great. And in fact, I'm going to show it to a client for an apartment that we're doing for their kitchen, because this is right up their alley. I do love, you know, those of you at home, when you do see it and feel it, it does have that kind of leathered finish to it. And I just love that. So I think that, again, gives it that sort of authenticity feel to it. It feels soulful. It's great in a kitchen. And I like for a kitchen is so utilitarian. I do anything I can to make it feel like there's furniture in the room, or it's a soulful space that has cozy materials to it. So this is right up that alley.
I would love to ask, as a consumer and a homeowner, not a designer, when you've got the fashion meets function, what would the differences be between Cambria, Inverness, Stone Street? Let's talk about a kitchen application, and actually putting in soapstone. How are they different performance-wise?
Very different performance-wise. I think soapstone, you have to be really careful, and there's a lot of sealing and resealing and that sort of thing. And your clients have to be those kind of people that like aren't going to freak out, because if they're going to, you should not use it. You know, it's a beautiful look, but if you are concerned about durability and staining and chipping and those types of things, you should definitely go the Cambria route.
Yeah, I would just add that I think something like a soapstone, you're really going to need to learn how to maintain it. So I think the nice, you know, the thing about Cambria is like there's just such little maintenance and it's so easy. I think with a true soapstone, you have to oil it, and you can get a lot of little scratches. You can easily kind of buff them out, but it's just a level of maintenance. It's like a living thing you have to take care of.
Okay, well, we're all learning a lot today. We're going to keep moving, and Jay, you're up. This is such a gorgeous process and project. I'm so excited for everybody watching right now to hear the backstory about this. So I'll just start by telling you a little bit about it. He used two different designs in this renovation, and it is a stunning space that he's co-owner of. It's in Sonoma, and it's a Sonoma County hotel called the Madrona. Jay, do you want to share the backstory of this and some of the design challenges and just the whole process on this lovely space?
Sure. Yes, this is definitely a COVID baby for me. I saw this over Memorial Day weekend of 2020, and it was completely on a whim. The hotel was closed because of the pandemic, and a friend of mine was getting ready to put it on the market because the current owners they bought it as a retirement project and owned it for 20 years. So they were in their 80s and ready to say goodbye to it. And it was in need of some love, but I went there Memorial Day weekend and spent like 3 hours there, just going through every room, every closet. And this was a private estate that was built in 1880. And it remained a private estate with several different owners for about 100 years. And then it was converted to an inn in 1980. And it had two owners during that time that it was an inn. So it was it was sort of like grandma's attic in terms of what you would think of for Victorians, with a lot of dark furniture and draperies on every wall, every window, and that sort of thing. And I just could see its entire future. And I left that day not thinking that I was going to own this hotel, but thinking I was going to come up with a fabulous design, and get an introduction when somebody bought this hotel and meet them and say, here's your design, you need to hire me to do the entire thing. And slowly but surely, just some consultants came into my world, and my brother's in the real estate finance world, and we were able to hobble together some investors, and we ended up purchasing the property, which is 8 acres and 7 different buildings. And in February of 21, and we started swinging hammers pretty soon after that, and did some spaces were heavy remodel, some spaces were light remodel, but we reopened the doors in April of 2022.
Wow. Okay, so we're ready to see inside. And
Yeah.
this is where this project just absolutely comes to life. I'll turn things back over to you, Jay. Tell us about these 2 spaces.
Yeah, speaking of William Morris earlier, who's having, I think, a renaissance right now, but the photo on the left that you see is the front parlor. There are 2 parlors, and then there's another room that we turned into the bar. But in 1880, that was during the aesthetic movement, which was big in the UK. And I don't know if the aesthetic movement ever made it to Healdsburg, California, but I pretended that it did, and thought about, the owners building this house during that time. It was Oscar Wilde, and funny enough, there was somebody sent me an article that Oscar Wilde was in San Francisco speaking at Gump's in like 1883. And I was like, okay, I'm sure the owners went there and like bought things at Gump's afterwards. But anyways, I kind of played off of that aesthetic movement, which was really about art going in your home for the sake of loving art. And really kind of, they almost say it was the birth of interior design, because rather than things being, things in your home for political reasons or religious reasons, it was really because you wanted them to be. And there were a lot of fanciful themes involved in that, a lot of animals and peacocks and foxes and things like that. And the sofa that you see here is a vintage piece that was reupholstered in a William and Morris fabric that was designed originally in the 1860s and reintroduced a few years ago. So we kind of played off of that. I wanted this feeling of the history and soul of the space, but that it was renewed and fresh and different, and art being everywhere in the hotel was really important to me because of that reference to the aesthetic movement. We cataloged about 750 pieces of furniture and art and rugs and light fixtures and things like that came with the property. We reused about 250 of those. So I've got something that's old in every room. About 30 of those pieces were from the original Paxson family that built the house. I have images from the early 1900s of some of the pieces in the hotel. The photo that you see to the right is our gender neutral restrooms, which I think gender neutral restrooms, that might be the first, I might have been the first person to put these in Healdsburg. They were quite a surprise to some people, but everyone has embraced them now, and they're fantastic. And we used the Huntley, I used all the surfaces in all the bathrooms, and the bathrooms for the rooms, and the bathroom for the common spaces are all Cambria, because they just are so functional and so durable and so good. And I like something that has a lot of movement to it. So you see the Huntley here. Those 2 sconces that you see were original sconces in the dining room for the family, the Paxson family that built the house. So I try to use, like I said, a piece like that in every room.
So cool. I love the play with pattern here with the floor tile, a little bit of a retro feel, and then the countertops and the interesting light fixtures. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
I have a question about the Huntley design that you chose from Cambria. How did that fit in aesthetically to the overall finish process?
It was this room. I wanted it to be dark and sexy and have that kind of vibe to it. You can see in the reflection of the mirrors, the stall doors are all kind of this peachy pink color, but that was the only color. Everything else I wanted to be black and white. So that fit in perfectly, that movement to it. I love graphic patterns mixed with something else, whether it's a floral or something that has movement like this, and mixing the 2 together. So I think it just fit great.
Just amazing. Okay, let's go on to the next slide.
The next slide.
Because this place just gets better and better and better.
You'll see when I started doing this, when this became a reality, I thought that I was going to design every room differently and every bathroom differently. And I realized pretty soon into that I was not going to do that, I was not going to do 24 bathrooms different and 24 rooms differently. But we did, like I said, we used antique pieces in every one of the rooms. This room that you see here, this is one on the second floor of the mansion, which was the building that you saw in the beginning. And this was the family's bedroom floors when they were built. So they have extra high ceilings, 12-foot ceilings. We did wallpaper on the ceilings and added some antique pieces from the rooms, and then just made it kind of feel, I wanted it to feel, like I said, kind of an updated antique manor kind of feel. The bathrooms, we did all the same, and we used the Cambria Marwell. Again, I love the movement of it. I knew that you weren't going to see much in terms of like staining or chipping or that kind of thing. And it was going to be durable because it needs to be extremely durable for a hotel. And I like the fact that I wanted to do, you know, we all think about storage in bathrooms. Well, hotels, you don't really have much storage for a bathroom and you don't really want much storage. So I wanted to do like larger vanities so people had a place for their products, and some vanities have two and suites and things like that. This is one sink, but a lot of counter space. The floor there is a porcelain tile, but it's a porcelain tile meant to look like encaustic, because encaustic was very popular, concrete and all of that was very popular during that time frame. But encaustic tiles would have been a nightmare in here, so we did the porcelain version of it. And the mirror, I forgot to mention the mirrors. So there were enough mirrors for all of the bathrooms to have a mirror from the property originally. So there are different mirrors in every one, not different bathrooms, but different mirrors.
So cool. I just noticed the paint line that where you took the paint down on the wall. I love it. It's just very subtle. The color is perfect. It's just easy. It's an easy thing to do, but makes such a big difference.
Yeah,
Right.
and I love, you know, I think what something like this shows me is typically I'm not usually really drawn to like the wild or stone options, and this just looks so lovely and like welcoming and inviting, and I can just see myself laying out all my cosmetics. And I love your big countertop, you know, thought, because that is, you know, you don't need storage, you just need the space to put everything out. And yeah, it really makes me want to use a stone like this. So I think it's a great mix of vintage too, that I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I want to mention the color. So Marwell is one of our designs, and we do a lot at Cambria. We do the webinars. We've got a great website. It's very interactive. We also have a YouTube channel, and Summer Kath, our head of design, who, by the way, is on site right now answering questions. So if you've got questions, go ahead and type them in, and Summer is going to be watching this back and answering those questions. But Summer and I have done a lot of videos that are trend forecast videos, and those live on our YouTube channel. Find them. And one of the trends this year, in fact, was called charcoal and chocolate. And when I look at Marwell, which is a design I haven't seen or heard, or, you know, we've not spoken about this one all that often, I definitely see that charcoal and chocolate trend. So I would love all three of you to weigh in on your thoughts for that warm and cool mix, because we're seeing that right now at Cambria with our whites, our mediums, our darks. We're seeing it across categories.
Totally.
Well,
We're obsessed with brown right now. We always love a good black moment. So we're starting to mix in those browns and warmer tones, but a lot of people still have some gray in their homes. So I think if everything is not changing, it's also an option to have to try to marry those together.
I was gonna say too, I always think it's really chic to wear brown and black together. And so like, you know, a silk brown blouse with a black blazer is like such a nice look. And I feel like that's what I see when I look at this bathroom. And it's just unexpected. I think brown goes really well with so many different things. And I love that brown is making such a comeback in all like varying shades. So I really like it, and I think need to use it a little more.
Yeah, I agree. I think very California of me, but I think there's an energy shift that's happening in the design industry, and we've been using grays and dark colors for so long. And I don't think dark is going to go away, but I think it's still going to be color. But it's true that people have some base things in their lives that are gray, like gray cabinetry and things like that, that might not change. And to mix brown into that is just kind of giving it this lively resurgence. And I'm seeing it in a lot of fabrics, and kind of trying to find those warm grays to mix with browns, I think is really interesting. So it's definitely a trend that I think is not going to go away for a while.
Good. Well, this is exciting. Again, if you guys want to find out more about what is trending and trend forecast, find our YouTube channel and make sure that you click subscribe to that. And so speaking of trends, let's go to the next slide, because we have 3 of our new design launches: Everly Warm, Aveline, and Inverness Blakely. I am dying to hear all of the designers' feedback on all of them. So I'm going to turn it over, and I will probably go in order. Brenda, let me start with you. Give me your thoughts, feedback. What do you think of these?
I love them. Our team has been super excited. Our rep dropped off the samples to us a while back, so we've been trying to think through how to incorporate them into clients' homes. My heart leans to Inverness Blakely for a couple of reasons. I have it here. It has some of those brown undertones in it, very beige, but there is a little bit of kind of gray also. So again, mixing those 2 things together, and it has some texture to it, which we always love that. I also love Everly. The veining is very smooth. And Aveline is cooler than we're doing with some of our projects, but if you're looking for something with a little more color or pop, that's also one that we're looking to spec for the right client. But I would say Blakely is my number 1 out of these for right now.
Jay, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I love them all. I love the Inverness Blakely just for that kind of like reaction to, I think there's been so much white Carrera that's gone in lately, or not lately, but over the last, decade, to have something that's on the warmer side, but still light, still has the veining. That's super interesting to me. The Aveline, I immediately thought with that green, I immediately thought about projects that we do like in the Napa Valley, where it's inside outside living. You're bringing the green tones from outside in, to do this on like an outdoor table or something like that outside, or kitchen counters or that kind of thing would be great. Everly, I love the pattern of it, especially because you can book match it. And I love to do a book match shower slabs, mostly in showers, we'll do a book match. So this one does a perfect book match. So we love doing that.
Good. Okay, Claire, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we just spec'd Aveline in a kitchen with, honestly, cabinetry that's kind of in the green wheelhouse of those books that are up on the Inverness Blakely. And I love like the freshness of something like an Aveline. I think it really mimics a natural stone so well. And I love that for my projects. I love that sort of cleaner pop with a lot of the colors we use. And I really like the other 2 as well. I'm interested to see like how they'll fit into our projects. When like I just had an inquiry for someone who bought more of a mid-century modern home, and they said they have kind of this vision for a more like California beach mid-century house, but I'm in Chicago. So it's really fun to have these different materialities based on the client and what, the project calls for.
Good. And I know, Claire, you had mentioned that Bridgeport was a favorite of yours. And
Yeah.
so if somebody is looking for an alternate to Bridgeport, you were recommending Aveline.
Yeah, I am so sad Bridgeport is getting discontinued. I love it so much. I feel like it just looks like it's 100 years old from Italy. So I think Aveline is a really great option when you want that old world look.
Yeah. Well, we never say discontinued. We just pause and suspend.
Okay.
So who knows what the future holds, right? We'll have to see. This has been so fun. We are so grateful for all of the design advice that you've given, all the great tips that you've shared. It's always such an adventure to watch the designers bounce their ideas off from each other and get inspiration from each other's spaces. And it's just really enjoyable to hear the backstory behind all these spaces. So I want to give a huge thank you on behalf of everybody here at Cambria to our 3 designers. I also want all of you that are registered right now to make sure that you find us. We're at CambriaUSA.com/style. Read our blog. There's all of our little social media handles, and then all of the designer social media handles as well. Make sure that you give them a click. Make sure that you give them a follow. Remember, if you are going onto our YouTube channel, there's a ton of great information on the YouTube channel as well. And with that, I want to say one last thank you to Brenda, Jay, Claire. You are all wonderful. Thank you for spending the time with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Fun. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye. And until next time, we hope that you have a wonderful day, and thanks for hanging out with us. Bye-bye.